people that don't know who I am. First and foremost, I am a gamer.
Nate's got Bugsy above him, Hogman below him, somewhere nearby. He jumps over. The traps that he picks up for the previous is gonna keep him in the game here.
What is up, ProGuides family? Welcome back. My name is Christoph, and today we're gonna be talking about Nate Hill. If I had to describe Nate Hill in a couple words, it would be cool and competitive. The man wants to win. In this story, we're going to be telling you guys what Nate Hill did to become such a winner in the game. Although he seems like he just woke up a great player, it wasn't always the case. Nate Hill had the drive and the thirst to improve to become one of the best players in Fortnite. I hope you guys are also inspired by this story of a true competitor, someone who wants to win and wants to improve. All right, guys, let's get into the video. Born and raised in the small community of Ottsville, Pennsylvania, Nate Hill has been gaming his entire life, beginning when he was young with a game called Road Rush for the 3DO. He loved gaming so much that later on in life, he'd even line up outside stores on release night so that he could pick up the next Call of Duty or Halo, then skip school the next day to frag out. This is super relatable because this is exactly what I did as well. Nate's aspirations for greatness took him along a new path, one that would pave the way for his ultimate gaming career. Nate had always dreamed of becoming an actor and director, however his mom had other plans for him. And when you're looking as good as Nate Hill, you should probably take up modeling. So he gave it a shot following graduation, and after winning a modeling competition out in California, he moved to New York City to work in the world of fashion. Nate's career took off, and for the next 7 years, he traveled the world to places like Paris and Tokyo, strutting his stuff on the runway and showing off the latest fashions for internationally recognized designers like Valentino and Tommy Hilfiger. At that time though, Nate's passion for gaming didn't stop. You'd think he had it all. The amazing looks, the ability to play guitar, the ability to travel the world, making tons of money, but his passion for gaming and his passion for competition never stopped. And when Fortnite came out, the uniqueness of the game appealed to him like no other. Unlike many video games, in Fortnite, every time you lose, you have lots to learn. Unlike in other titles where you might just lose because, well, teammates, League of Legends, just kidding. But at one point, Nate was straight up addicted, often playing up to 14 hours a day. Which one of us wasn't?
I'm ready whenever you are.
I just try to stick it when I go. Ready?
It's on you.
Oh, let's go! He kept that grind up for months, not for recognition, views, or anything like that, but because he was so in love with the game.
Ooh.
Wait, you.
Ow.
Oh my lord! It's lit, fam.
In just around 7 months of playing incredibly, Nate had won over 2,000 matches. So at that point, he knew he was skilled enough to go pro. And even though he did have his modeling career, becoming a pro gamer had always been his dream.
Honestly, what drives me to become the best Fortnite player and the best gamer in general is just because I love doing it. There's nothing else in the world that I like doing more than gaming. I've tried modeling, I've tried singing, all that. And I put a lot of effort into both those things. It never stuck with me as like what I really want to do. So every day I wake up and I just want to get better at the game.
The thing was though, he needed an opportunity to prove that he could do it, not only to the world, but to himself. A tournament or large-scale event win would do just that. And that moment would come in July of 2018. World-renowned gamer Ninja was partnering with Red Bull for the Rise Till Dawn tournament in Chicago, and this event was a bit of an odd one. They held it from literally dusk till dawn, and whoever could get the most points by the time the sun came up would be crowned the winners. But there was only one problem. Nate needed a duo partner, and he didn't really know anyone near his skill level. And when you're as good as Nate Hill, it isn't easy to get paired up with him. He tried out a few players, but eventually remembered someone he'd seen in smaller tournaments and that had killed him in a match months ago. That player was none other than Funk Bomb. Without hesitation, Nate hit him up. There was no time to waste, and right away, he knew Funk was more than worthy. All they needed to do now was practice and get ready. Nate even changed his sleeping schedule so he wouldn't get tired staying up all night during the tourney. And on the day of the event, all that training and hard work came to fruition. A win here, some consistent play there, and by the end, Nate and Funk clinched the victory, taking home a dope-looking trophy and around $2,000. But more than the money and the trophy was the self-validation that he had been searching for with a win. When Nate returned home, he put his head down and got right back to it. Nate had now earned the self-respect needed to take his gaming dream to the next level. Epic had their first ever multi-million-dollar series going on, the Summer Skirmish, and through some prior performances, Nate was fortunate enough to receive an invite. And when it came to playing in the skirmish, well, he and Funk absolutely popped off.
Opportunity to try and get some movement going there too. He's gonna have to secure a structure or take a chance and fly and get the shotgun shot on the way down.
Wait, is this it? Oh, Funk bomb!
And Nate taking home the first win. The problem is that he has to move further than they do, and he doesn't have any mats. This is a big fall damage. Oh, not a lot. There we go.
Oh, here we go! The fight! They're taking their... Oh, it was Nate Hill!
That's 2 in a row!
Oh my gosh, Nate
and Funk.
Hill!
Those back-to-back wins were beyond impressive, and they boasted Nate and Funk a first-place finish and even more money in their pockets. This time, $18,000. And from that, Nate was instantly on the radar of every esports organization. Everyone was scouting this up-and-coming talent, and out of all the options presented to him, Nate sided with none other than FaZe Clan. The Summer Skirmish was concluding with a $1.5 million LAN event in Seattle. This was the big leagues, a tournament on a whole nother level. Not only that, but considering that Nate had just got signed to one of the most famous orgs out there, he was feeling a little on edge.
At the time, I had just got signed to FaZe Clan, and it kind of added a lot of pressure. Like, does this guy really deserve to be on such a high tier org? Does this guy, is he as good as that people think he is? And I kind of had that in the back of my head the whole time, like thinking, if I don't do well here, what's gonna happen, you know?
But Nate's past experience would serve as a pedestal for his future success. He'd lived on his own and supported himself for years, so he had a lot of know-how to fall back on and help him get rid of that anxiety that we all face when playing Fortnite.
So you have to like pull on past experiences, such as like traveling the world when you're a little kid, or if you're an academic, like passing a insanely hard test that you studied for. Like this tournament was that test that I studied very hard for. I played every single day for 12 hours a day, practiced every route, practiced everything that I could to make me better for this tournament. And I just had to shut out that pressure and kind of just focus on what I know and focus on the gameplay that I know that I can do.
When it came time to play at PAX, the hours of practice paid off in spades.
Everyone feels this pressure. Everyone knows that there's so much money on the line, and there's so much fame and fortune and just a lot of things that can happen if you win this tournament. So it's like one of those things you envision everyone else in their underpants.
Top 5 situation.
Nate Hill already in a brilliant position. Spot 72 hours. He's got no builds left. So he's going to get dropped on down.
He's got a player right underneath him. Bolt all the way up top. Looking down Nate Hill. This 1v1 situation. Nate Hill still left alive.
Nate's got to keep spraying. Nate has to keep spraying. He cannot let this go to a heal off. He knows it as well. He's got to keep spraying. Nate, the game potentially slipping out of his hands. He needs to keep spraying the structure above. Nope, he's not going to be able to out-heal him. This one's done. He's not going to be able to out-heal. He does not have a med kit. This should be a heal-off in favor of Bolt Naga. It's going to come down to the wire. Nate spraying, doing whatever he can, but it's not enough.
Nate didn't get any wins that day, but his excellent game sense was enough for him to end up finishing 4th, earning a life-changing $120,000. Nate's rapid come-up leading to this win is something straight out of fiction. He got signed by the most prominent esports org on the planet, multiplied his stream views by a factor of 20, and earned over $100,000 from winning tournaments, all in the span of a few weeks. This is enough to get into anyone's head. Those excellent performances solidified Nate as a top-tier pro, so when Epic later announced their $10 million Fall Skirmish series, Nate was one of the few to receive an invite.
Nate's invited to Fall Skirmish. Let's go. Hey. Hey. Let's go.
Overall, his performance in this 6-week event was triumphant. However, there were a ton of problems and hardships, one of which almost stopped his career dead in its tracks. During the first week of duo games, at one point, Nate's partner Funk died. Don't worry, he only died in game, he didn't die in real life. It was a rule in tournaments back then that when you got eliminated, you had to leave the game. So Funk exited the match and booted up the official stream to tune in on the action. And perhaps it was a lapse of judgment, but Funk relayed a bit of the info from the stream to Nate, who was still in the game.
Demo to your west on the bottom.
Cannot
No
edit.
Straight to your west.
Yeah, he's
Like southwest, he's 30 health. I feel like this is cheating, but...
The next day, Epic got serious. They immediately kicked Funkbomb out of the series and issued Nate a 2-week suspension.
It's only 2 weeks, but what the I didn't fucking do anything, bro. I didn't fucking do anything, dude.
Nate's ban sparked a ton of debate. People argue he did nothing wrong and that the punishment was undeserved because it's not like he played any part in Funk going to the stream and ghosting that player's location. Not only that, but Epic forgot to put a delay on their stream. If they had one, which they were supposed to, none of this would have ever happened. Still, others said the suspension was fair because Nate shouldn't have acted on the info by shooting at his opponent's builds. Either way, the 2-week ban and allegations of international cheating led to a ton of hate towards Nate. But this wasn't the first time. It had happened to him before. In the past, Nate had gotten disqualified from a potentially life-changing high school golf tourney because of a forgetful mishap with a ball marker. So for something similar to happen again, well, he was absolutely devastated.
You guys don't know how much fucking work I put into this and shit. Like, this is all I care about is like streaming and playing Fortnite professionally and trying to inspire people to just be better, man. It just hurts a lot that people are trying to fucking like pile on to me for something that I didn't even do, and like just trying to ruin my career before it's even started, man.
Even though Nate was almost deprived of his dream, once the suspension ended, he was ready to bounce back. To wrap up the fall skirmish, Epic hosted a massive LAN event at TwitchCon with almost $2 million up for grabs. By this time, Funk was allowed to play again, and with many members of the community still calling him cheaters, our duo had a lot to prove.
Away, 87 medium ammo, a handful of shotgun shots. Tifu gets sniped 39 meters from Nate Hill.
Out of 6 matches, they didn't manage to get any dubs. Still, they picked up a ton of elims with Nate's excellent leadership, except in Game 3, where he experienced something quite unfortunate.
Down below, but at 175, we got a team stuck probably the highest hill. Top-down view on everybody. Funk rotating in ever so gently, floating underneath. And
it looks like something happened there with Nate Hill as you see the frustration. We'll have to receive word on what exactly that was, as it definitely didn't look ideal.
Epic added that glider redeploy feature to the game less than a week before this event, and so for it to bug out when the stakes were so high must have felt heartbreaking. And honestly, if Nate was able to play the match out with that inventory, it might have entirely changed the outcome of the tournament. But even with that misfortune, out of the hundreds of participants, they managed to finish 2nd place, splitting $255,000 between the two of them. The money was nice, but for Nate, his redemption was everything he dreamed of.
Funkbomb, Nate Hill, that means you guys have come in 2nd place, but still, you are still number 2. How are you guys feeling after that?
We're feeling amazing, man. Like we had a lot of go on like during the fall skirmish, so to come back and show that we're still top of the top, like I feel great.
Several months later, the World Cup got announced, and with how well Nate Hill had done in the past, he was a favorite in everyone's eyes. In week 4 of the qualifiers, Nate and Funk were going into their last match of the day with 68 points, and they needed around 85 to qualify for the New York finals. That meant at least 7 elims and the victory royale, a seemingly impossible task considering they only had 1 shot at it. But against all odds,
On that low ground, puts
Meanwhile,
the RPG up towards it, and they're getting knocked down.
Just suddenly found the RPG right there. Players are falling down. Someone's coming down gliding. Can he get this connection? Oh, there was a redeploy right there, but it doesn't matter. Funk goes down. Can he get the shot? And it's Nate Hill who connects in the very last moments there. Even with Funk coming down, he landed a crucial shot there, and Nate Hill managed to follow up right afterwards.
Remarkably, that clutch barely got them the points they needed to qualify for the biggest Fortnite event of all time. But when it came to qualifying for solos, Nate wouldn't be as fortunate.
Nate Hill is clawing his way up the leaderboard. When we hopped in, he was somewhere near the top 20. This is still going on for him as he's just a couple placements away. He's going out through the storm. He wants this high ground, and he actually takes it. That's a nice shot right there.
Oh, he pops the smoke bomb, and he's gonna go down low, so he won't take any fall damage. He's gonna be right in front of someone.
Gosh.
He busts out the combat shotgun and gets the confirmation of the elimination.
He's got Bugsy above him, Hogman below him, somewhere nearby. He jumps over. The traps that he picks up for the previous is going to keep him in the game here. Is Hogman or someone below is trying to pressure him out. Finds a moment. And don't forget, they were fighting in the storm for a second there. He's got an advantage. Probably at this moment, 58 points here, Golden.
I cannot believe what I'm seeing here. What a Herculean effort from Nate Hill. Clarity G just eliminates Hogman. That's going to leave us into a top 4. And Nate Hill, he's just going to try and glide this one down and just ride the safe zone of the storm as long as he possibly can. Now we're going to be in top 2, but it all comes down to that. And Clarity G gets the victory royale. But what a run from all of those players, Nate Hill especially.
His play was beyond incredible, but Lady Luck just wasn't with him that day.
Nate Hill, one spot away, and you've got to think, you win that game.
One more elim.
One more
elim. This is the difference of tiebreakers coming.
All he needed was one more elimination across any of the 10 matches he played, and he would have qualified. Unfortunately, he missed out by just a hair. At least he was qualified for duos though, and now that he and Funk were going to New York to play against the best of the best, a big topic that got brought up was their age. World Cup participants ranged from 13 to 24 years old. Nate was that 24, and Funk was that 23, which isn't old or anything, but in pro Fortnite, they're pretty much fossils. So could they keep up with the fierce competition? Although we all wish that this story could end by saying they achieved the impossible, our duo gave it their all and ended up finishing 31st out of 50. However, this is no small feat. They went up against the best players in the world. So many pros didn't even qualify for the World Cup, so all things considered, this was a massive victory and proved that even the older guys, like myself, can compete. If you were to spot Nate Hill walking down the street and you didn't know who he was, a pro gamer is the last thing you'd imagine. But that's what he is, a gamer and a natural-born competitor. And in the past year since the World Cup's concluded, he's been out there absolutely killing it. In the first week of Duo FNCS, he and Funk finished just a smidge outside of the qualifying threshold. They have a couple more weeks, and if there's anyone we have faith in qualifying, it's these two guys. His journey as a pro Fortnite player has been filled with nothing but success, and we wish Nate the best of luck on his incredible career forward. If you aren't already subscribed to Nate on Twitch, go ahead and sub to him. Alright guys, that's it for the video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you were inspired just like I was on Nate Hill's story and what it's like to be a true competitor in the game. He's not always the most entertaining, but when you watch his stream, you know you are watching someone who is great.